Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hello, hello, hello. I've got Lolita Bryant in backstage coming to you soon. But let me tell you first who I am. I am Sacred Rights. I am the creator of this show, Get Rich 101. And today is 466, 466 of my running every day, every day, every day. So I was reminded by the kids I was working with yesterday that I've got to shout it out. Got to shout it out because they didn't know how many days it was. They were like, 166. So that was pretty fun. Let me just show you a quick picture. Then we're going to get Lolita involved. Let me see. I was trying to get this going before the show came on, but I wasn't quite able to get it on. So let me see if I can do this now. Let me see. Present. Share screen. These are the kids that I was working with yesterday. I was working with these kids with Demetria Short, and they were hilarious. They were hilarious, and they were doing their due, getting ready for a 5K this weekend. I was like, they are right now at the stage, and these are the kids out here in all their workout outfits and everything, and here they are. I'm pressing play.
Yeah, caught me.
Look at them. Look at them. All of them ready. Yeah, but trying to get them to do what they had to do was challenging. Was challenging. Was challenging. So anyway, I've taken up enough of your time. Let's get Lolita involved. So welcome to the stage, Lolita Bryant. Let's give her a drum roll, please. Hey Lolita, how you doing?
Hi. Can you hear me okay?
Yes,
Okay,
video is great.
good.
Video is great. Yeah, great.
Great.
Yeah. So let you introduce yourself to the folks that don't know.
Okay, so yes, my name is Lolita Bryant, and I am a native Nashvilleian. I'm a registered nurse, been a nurse for 30 years. 13 years of my nursing career was in the hospital, every area of cardiac nursing. For my last 17 years, I've been working in corporate America, currently managing nurse auditors for a managed care organization. And you and I met through running.
Yes. Please
I
tell that
was,
story.
yes, I was the BGR ambassador for Nashville.
BGR is Black Girls Run, for those of you that
I'm
don't know.
sorry, Black Girls Run,
Black Girls Run.
one of the largest, the largest national Black running group for women.
Right, right. And so you were saying yes, well, whenever we saw each other for
Saturday, yes.
what is it, what's it called?
Saturday when we
Oh,
were with Demetrius and
yeah,
his.
but what was, do you remember the name of this thing it has the college students would be a part of? You
Yeah,
remember the name
so
of it?
it's through his organization. It's the Leadership Academy through Transformation Life through their center. Yes. So
Yes. I was trying to get
Fit
that
to
too.
Lead. It was their final gathering, and
Yes.
they wanted to bring the college students together so that they could hear from people in the medical field and people like us, and we'll get to that soon. But
Yeah.
the final segment for them was Fit to Lead.
Yeah. And you told me very briefly at the beginning of that you had seen a Facebook post that I did that I don't even remember now because of
Yes.
my amnesia still kicks in. But you told me a story about the picture. So could you tell that to everybody?
Yes. So I do believe it was 2021, I believe.
Okay.
And we all had gathered, we were training. You were training for your very first half marathon, the run.
Wow. My
We
first
were
half
both,
marathon.
Yes, we were both training with Fleet Feet Nashville.
Right.
And that particular Sunday, Fleet Feet was presenting an award to Black Girls Run. And
Okay.
so we were on that picture that you shared on Facebook. We were all gathered together that morning to do a training run with them. And at that particular time, we could actually invite the community. So some of
Right.
the ladies that weren't actually training from Black Girls Run joined us that morning for the presentation. And I thought it was just so ironic because it
Yeah.
popped up in my feed like on a Tuesday, and I knew that you and I would be presenting together on the following Saturday.
That's
But
crazy.
it basically said, so happy to work side by side with Lolita Sneed-Bryant. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You were doing it. You were doing it. You're doing it.
Thank
You're doing
you.
your thing. I appreciate it. Yeah. So I'm going to get right into it. I know for Demetrius, we had kind of had to choke it out, but I'm going to get right into it. So tell us about what happened.
Okay.
Yeah, tell us about what happened. Let's get right to it.
Okay. And a couple of things I'm going to clear up because I listened to the interview yesterday and
Okay.
it was amazing, but a couple of things that I do want to clear up.
Okay.
Actually, like Demetrius said, he did mention like three arteries. We do have three major arteries in our body that feeds blood and oxygen to all of our major organs. Two, not three, of my major arteries were blocked.
That's a
And
lot. That's
so
a
we'll
lot.
get to the date. He had
That's a
actually
lot, though. That's a
August,
lot.
a whole lot.
Yeah, that's a
Well,
lot.
he had actually mentioned the date of August, but it was
Mhm.
actually, it will be 1 week. I mean, not 1 week, 1 year next Wednesday. It actually
What?
happened on April the 17th of 2023.
Wow.
Was training for the Rock and Roll 615.
Okay.
So that was, that's a total of 6.15 miles.
Okay.
So that Wednesday, I do believe it was a Wednesday, I had gone out, but it was April the 17th of 2023. I normally run on the Greenway because I just don't like the traffic. I don't like the stopping and starting at the red light. You don't know if people are going to
Right.
stop
Right.
safety and everything. So
Right.
normally I run the Greenway near my house, which is a little further from my home than where I actually ran. So as I
Mhm.
was heading out the door that day, it was around noon. I just as clear as I'm speaking to you, I just heard the Holy Spirit say, "Go to the parking lot of the hospital."
Now
And it's
pause right there. So
uh-huh.
is that something that happens to you frequently? Like you often hear a voice from God?
I do, and sometimes
Okay.
I listen, sometimes I don't. And when I don't, I pay the price for it.
Yes. Yes. You pay the price. You pay the price.
I
When you
pay
feel
the
that little
price. I
tingle,
pay
and you
the
don't
price.
do it, you feel it.
I do,
Okay.
I do. And
Yeah.
so I headed to the hospital, and it is a trail there that I know it back and forth. So I got on the trail and I started out, it was a 4 mile run, two out and back, and I felt amazing.
Mhm.
And on my way back, I was probably I'm just gonna say a quarter of a mile, or less from my car. And I had hit a Rock Springs Road in Stonecrest. And immediately, oh my God, I felt pain, undescribable pain
Really.
in my left jaw, my left arm, and down my back on the left side. And I'm a
Okay.
cardiac nurse, as I mentioned earlier. I'm a
Yes.
cardiac nurse. So for me, there was no thought of what was happening, but I could not believe it was happening to me. And
Mm.
then that feeling that I heard patients talk about, doom, I felt an immediate feeling of doom. And so at that point, all I knew is that I needed to get to the emergency room, which
Okay.
was not
Pause,
far.
pause, pause. I
far.
got to pause you right there. So, what
Mhm.
are the signs of a heart attack? You said you felt
Yes.
something on the left side, the left jaw. Like, tell us what we should be looking for.
So I'm going to tell you all, it's two different scenarios because
Okay.
women present differently normally than men. So
Okay.
normally for women, we feel the pain in our left jaw, left arm, and in the back, and in our back. And a
Okay.
lot of times, sometimes women will be like, it's not in my chest, so it may not be a heart attack.
Mm.
Women, please, 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 please listen to your body, listen to those signs.
Listen up.
It's the left side of the body, The left jaw, because our heart is situated on the left side of our body. It's the left jaw, the left arm. It will radiate down your arm and the left back. For men, it's normally the left jaw, chest crushing chest pain, the left arm. With all of this, a lot of times you'll get shortness of breath. You'll get profuse sweating. Now I didn't get short of breath. And I was already running. So when I got to the hospital, I'm a heavy sweater anyway. So the doctors couldn't figure out if that was from me running or the heart attack.
Wow.
So I got to the emergency room. And let me just tell you all one more thing that is so very important.
Yep.
Our heart is a muscle. It supplies blood and oxygen to every major organ of our body. Time is muscle. So it's no time to be playing around. It's no time to be playing around. You have got to get the medical help that you need. So if you were in a situation like for me, if I had been on the greenway, I would have pressed the SOS button on my phone, or I would have called 911.
Do you have that? You have that on your phone?
Yeah, I have an iPhone. So I would have pressed the SOS button on my phone. And the good thing about the SOS button on my phone, and anyone can do this, I don't know what other phones outside the iPhone, but you could actually have it connected to all of your emergency contacts.
Oh, wow.
My children would have been alerted. My husband would have been alerted.
That's incredible.
911 would have been alerted immediately. It would have tracked me until I turned my phone off. So even if I wasn't able to speak, my children would have been able to see a GPS of me wherever I was at.
Wow, that's a big thing. That's a big thing. So this is the first time I heard of it. So that you can program your phone to contact everyone.
Yes, to contact, and it will immediately, if you don't turn it off within a certain amount of time, it will automatically contact 911, and it will automatically contact your emergency contacts.
Wow.
So thank God I was close to the emergency room. I get to the hospital, and thank God I get the treatment that I needed. But let me just tell you all something, that God aligned every single person up that needed to be there. Because the nurse, they immediately, of course, they knew I was literally, on the way to the emergency room, I thought I was asking for help, but nobody could hear my voice. I finally get to the emergency room, and it's no one at the front desk.
Wow.
And then at that point, I felt myself just slowly about to just lose my whole life. I saw my life flashing in front of me. And if you know anything about the emergency room, you cannot get to the back of the emergency room. They have to open the doors to let you in. It's for safety and all those reasons. So a nurse actually saw me. I don't know if she saw me. She didn't look like she saw me. I think she was just ready to walk through the door. And she heard my voice. And I just said to her, I am dying.
Wow.
I am having a heart attack.
Wow.
And she got another nurse. They scooped me up. They got me on the EKG machine. They got me on everything. They started the whole process, got me back to a room.
Wow.
And unbeknownst to me, because it was so many people in my room and I was in so much pain, that I thought I had been seen by the emergency room doctor, and the emergency room doctor hadn't even come in yet. The same nurse that I'm telling you about, she happened to see a cardiologist, and this never happens. He was on his way home and was passing through the emergency room. She grabbed him and said, I have someone that you have to see.
Wow.
Brought him into my room, and with him being a specialist, a cardiologist, a heart doctor, he could look at me and know that something was definitely wrong. So he started asking all the questions. He started drawing all the blood work. All my blood work was coming back, positive for, my troponin level, which is a level in your blood that will go spike up if you're having a heart attack.
Really?
Your EKG will look differently if you're having a heart attack. So he immediately, I used to work in the cath lab. They immediately called the cath lab and said, nobody goes home. We have an emergency. So my family was on their way. My son arrived early. Everybody was on their way. And the nurse, my God, the nurse that started taking care of me, she asked me, could she pray for me? And of course, I said yes. She laid her entire body over me.
Wow.
And she started to pray for me.
Wow.
Fast forward, we get back to the cath lab, and that's where all the magic happens. And the doctor, they started to prep me. We all have a radial artery here, and they went through my
Radio artery.
artery in my arm, in my right arm, and they use dye, and so they shoot the dye up in your artery, and it shows like a X-ray picture of the inside of your body.
Okay.
And when they saw that, they saw I had two of the three major arteries blocked. One of those arteries was blocked 100%.
100%?
One other artery was blocked
Okay. Time out.
70%. Yes.
Time out. So,
Yes.
did you have any feelings about this before? Did you have any
No.
murmurs, anything?
No.
Just all of a sudden,
No.
just like that.
It was just like that.
Wow.
One of my friends, she described it. I told her she could preach a whole sermon on it. And when I talked to her, that was her response to me, just like that. So, just like that, my whole life changed. And
Okay.
so they started the process, and the artery that feeds the front of my heart is called the right coronary artery. We have another artery that feeds our heart, and it's called the left anterior descending coronary artery. You will hear this sometimes as the RCA or the LAD.
Okay.
And so, because one of my arteries was 100% occluded, and you'll hear that term, occluded or blocked,
Mhm.
that was the artery that they worked on first. So they put the stent, which was, the doctors later told me it was the longest stent that they actually had. And
Mm.
they put that stent in my artery, and it opened up my artery. And then I now had blood flow. And so a lot of times what happens is, because I had that 70% blockage, I had enough oxygen and enough blood flow there, that they were worried, but not as worried. So they didn't
Mm.
have to put a stent in that artery that same day.
Mm.
So what happened is I stayed over. They don't let you stay in the hospital long. I stayed overnight in the hospital. Um, and then with the understanding that they would allow me to rest, two things: rest, and then the healing of my that puncture wound there.
Mm.
So to rest. And to take it easy, and to not lift, and to not do certain things.
Right.
And I would come back to the hospital 4 weeks later, 3 to 4 weeks later, to have
Mm.
that second artery repaired.
Okay.
So I'll stop here to see if you have any questions.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
That's a lot. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of
you,
stuff. So I
so
guess I want to focus on, I know you've already told us, but I really want to focus on what people should be looking for, because you've been working as a nurse, and you, once you felt the symptoms, you knew immediately. But
mhm,
regular people are gonna be like, I kind of
yeah,
feel something. I kind of feel something. It'll be all right. So
yep.
what should we really be focused on? You know?
Yep. And I tell people I'd rather be safe than sorry. So your symptoms may not be my symptoms, and it may not, you may be able to catch whatever's happening to you. Um, so I would just say, you know your body better than anybody. You know your body better than the doctors.
You know your body
So
better than anybody. Let's
anybody.
pause for that for a second. You know your body better than
Yes.
anybody else. Remember that,
Yes.
people. Remember that. That's
Yes.
important. Go ahead.
So if you have stairs in your home, or stairs anywhere, or
Mm.
if you notice that you are walking up your stairs and you get short of breath, but yesterday you weren't short of breath, or a couple of days you
Mm.
weren't, start paying attention to things like that.
Mm.
Because symptoms can be subtle and they can be gradual.
Mm.
So pay attention to excessive sweating if you're not normally a sweater. Pay attention to your blood pressure spiking if that's
Right.
not normally the case. Pay attention to having shortness of breath if that's not. Pay attention to those twings in your body. If you're having chest pain, don't just ignore it. Go to the emergency room, get help. Go to
Right.
urgent care. Go somewhere. If you start having pain in your left arm that radiates, and that pain does not go away,
Mm.
you need to get help. If you start having pain in your back that you don't normally have. You're not a weightlifter. You're not, picking up anything heavy. Um, you need to get help. So
Yeah.
I would say, your body better than anybody. The
Your body.
doctors told me that I was an edema, like they've never like seen anything like it. Like, because it's kind of odd here because I was so healthy, I survived.
Yeah. You
And
were
some
so
people say,
healthy. You were so healthy.
I was so healthy.
Yeah.
At the time, I was eating strictly a plant-based diet.
Mm.
No illicit drugs,
Mm.
no, excessive alcohol,
Mm.
getting plenty of rest.
Right.
I was lifting weights,
Doing everything right. Doing everything
doing
right.
everything right. Anything outdoorsy, I was doing it. So the doctors they were just like, we're like so shocked, but they assured me that if I was not healthy, the
Okay.
worst fear that could ever happen to anyone, probably to die alone on the sidewalk. They were like, you
Wow.
would have died at Rock Springs Road and Stonecrest Boulevard.
Okay, hold on. So you're saying that the doctor told you that because you are so healthy, you were able to make it. You were able to make
Yes,
it. Wow.
yes,
That's incredible.
literally. And
That's
every
incredible.
person, all my friends, all my family, when they came to see me in the hospital, every single person said the same thing.
Mm.
I should be in that bed and not you. How are
Mm.
you there? Like, you are the healthiest person that I know.
Mm. Right.
And yeah. And
Yeah.
it was totally a shock. Something the doctor said to me was that did not happen to me. That what happened to me that day just didn't happen to me that day. It
Yeah.
had something that had to be festering in my body
Yeah.
for years.
Right.
And just so happened that run that day released that clot in my
Mm.
body that shut my arteries down.
Mm.
Yes.
That's something
All
else.
those Big Macs when I was 9 years old. All that saturated fat that I was
I'll
eating,
bubble it
all
up.
those fries, all those,
Yeah.
all that
Yeah.
stuff just hung around for me.
Yeah.
Something else that I want to say as well,
Okay.
that I do believe it was probably 2 weeks before my episode, I had
Mm.
had the best physical that I had had in years. All
Really?
my blood work came back great. My cholesterol was everything. Nothing was out of whack. Not one thing.
Mm.
Not one
Mm.
thing. Not
Yeah.
one thing.
Yeah. I want to share this note with you. This is fiance, my
Fee, your fiance.
wait. I'm trying to get it right. My my what's the thing before you get married?
It's your fiance.
Fiance,
Yes,
fiance.
yes,
Couldn't get it right. My fiance, she's saying your health ended up being your lifeline. Health is wealth. Health is
yes,
wealth. Yeah. And I just
yes.
want to speak to that too, because for me, I experienced a stroke
Mm-hmm.
and it was unexpected, like
Mm-hmm.
yours, completely unexpected. And I was doing all the right things. I had stopped drinking. I started running every day. I started doing everything right, everything right. And then you know what happened? They they saw me here in Nashville, and they saw me later in New York. And it wasn't until I was in New York, the 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 past the doctor said that because I was so healthy, I was able to beat that stroke, because that stroke was a fatal stroke. And I was like, what? Fatal? He was like, yeah, fatal. Like, you were able to pull yourself out of that by being so healthy. So the same thing as you. Like, being
Yes,
healthy was our doorway. It was our fitness
yes,
doorway. Yes.
yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yes. Yeah.
yes. And so it was probably just recently that I just thought about it. Probably one day I was out running, maybe because I do a lot of reflecting when I run. But I just thought about how running really saved me, because you know
Mm.
what? If I was not running that day, and that didn't happen to me while I was running, I could have died in my sleep because it was coming. That episode was coming.
Yeah.
I just probably a year before that was on one of the top mountains in North Carolina climbing.
Wow.
I would have died there.
Yeah.
By the time they would have gotten help to me. My
Right.
husband and I, we travel all the time.
Right.
And so I I reflect over and over and give God all the glory and the honor and the praise. And I always think it could have happened here, but God,
Yeah.
you didn't allow it to happen there.
Exactly.
You allowed it to happen at the right place at
Yeah.
the right time, and all the healthcare providers were there for me. And
Yes.
I thank
Yes.
God for it. But
Praise
yeah,
God.
running
Praise God.
saved me. Something else that I want to just add here. One of the young people asked me this on Saturday, and I thought about it. I gave them an answer, but I probably should have given them this answer that I'm going to give you. They asked me what am I doing differently?
Yes.
And the answer that I gave is really, I'm not doing anything that different. I'm more intentional about my yeses and my nos.
Right.
But because I was already doing all the right things, I thought. But one thing that I had to do immediately, and not for myself, just for myself, but for my children and my grandchildren, I had to totally change my medical history. Now my medical history includes cardiac disease,
Oh,
cardiovascular disease. When I would go to my doctor's visits, every year when you go, they ask you to update your medical history.
right.
Nothing had changed for me up until that point because I thought I knew my family's health history. But after that happened, because the doctors just kept asking, you don't have any heart disease in your family? I was like, no, diabetes, hypertension, but no heart disease. And so once my sisters and I finally let the dust settle, and about a week later, we all got together and talked about what happened to me, we came to the conclusion that, you know what? It missed a generation. Our great grandfather, who we all knew, he passed away. I mean, just flat out died in the front yard, and it was
Wow.
from a heart attack. So it
Wow.
skipped my mother and then for me. So now I have to include cardiovascular disease. My children have to now include that, and my grandchildren now have to include that.
Okay.
Another thing is I've been taking a blood thinner because when anything foreign is in your body, which stents are foreign to my body, we have a defender in our body, and it's called platelets.
Okay.
And platelets, God created our body so smart that they were created to defend an attack. So because of the platelets are foreign, if I don't take my blood thinner, the platelets will attack my stents. They will close my stents down, and I will have another heart attack.
Wow.
So I will have to
Wow.
continue to take this blood thinner probably for another year. I've been on it for a
Okay.
year. I was hoping to discontinue, but my doctor said no. So
Yeah.
I'll have to continue that.
Yeah. Yeah. We're out of time. I can't believe it. We're out of time like that. But I'm gonna go overtime a little because the title of the show is Get Rich 101, and that's what we talk about usually. Of course, I gotta talk about my health. And when I run into people like you who survived a heart attack while running, I had to put you on. But so let me ask you. You talked a little bit about this on Saturday, but what has been your big money idea, your big genius thing that happened with money? Like, what can you give us as a I don't know, a nudge?
Yeah.
Maybe a nudge. Yeah.
So I want to touch on a couple of things because this is so important. Insurance. My heart went when I received my first hospital bill. I wrote it down so I didn't forget it.
Yeah.
When I received my first hospital bill, the first bill was $105,108.42.
Listen,
Okay.
I'm feeling you.
So if I did not have the insurance that I had, my heart went out to people that were either had no insurance
No
or that
insurance.
were underinsured.
Yep.
Thank God
Yep.
I have insurance. My
Mhm.
second hospital bill, when I had to go back out onto the hospital on May the 12th of last year, was $120,000 plus.
Wow.
Out of $226,000 plus, my out of pocket was $4,200.
Mm.
Thank God. I thank God for that. So that's one of the things that I like to touch on, because if not, we're talking about finances. If not, that could literally bankrupt someone, right?
Exactly.
It
Exactly.
literally bankrupt someone.
Mhm.
So the second thing that I immediately did um after coming home from the hospital, it was probably day 2. It took me maybe about 3 days to finish everything. But my husband and I, after funerals, we would always say we're gonna get our wills and our trust and our, our finances, together, so everybody would know if something happened to us. But what happened for me that day, I was like, I don't care how long this takes. I'm going to pull out all of my 401ks, all of my investments, all of my insurance,
Yes. Yes.
everything. And I'm getting ready to start updating all this information.
Mm.
So for me, my financial one-on-one, that is what I did afterwards. And I then reached out to my family, my children, and I let them know these documents are here. If anything were to happen to me, you can find them here in this envelope. And I made it very easy for them. I wrote everything, every phone number, every account number on the front, and I put
Mm.
all the paperwork
Mm.
in an envelope. And just to say that sometimes we have to update. So I had to reach out to some of the companies to say, I've moved and my children have moved, so let me update this information. Let me update my beneficiaries. Let me do that, because financial one-on-one, I don't want to leave a burden for my family,
Yeah.
or have money secured somewhere and they don't know where to go find it.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Ashe. Ashe. I'm glad I asked. I'm glad I asked. So
Yes.
I'm gonna just tell everybody that you will be on my fiance show on Monday, and we will continue the conversation. I know she's got some extra questions she wants to ask you, but let's get you going. Let's get you going. So
Okay.
thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Thank you
Welcome.
for reminding me about that photo and me connecting the dots between us. That's amazing. That's amazing. All right, folks. Thanks for being here. And what's my thing? Um, uh, happiness. Dang it. Uh, all right. Well, you give us a final quote then, because I was trying to think of one and I can't remember it.
I would just say, everyone just have a blessed day.
Everyone have a blessed day. Thank you. Thank you for the leader.
Bye
All right.
bye.
Bye.